Hello and welcome. Stay tuned for this edition of Telling Our Story in Prince George's County. We want all our human and civil rights protected, and we are all committed to safe and secure communities in Prince George's County. How do we achieve those goals? When something happens that threatens, how do we deal with it, and what role do citizens play? Representatives from the county's Civil Rights, Education, and Enforcement Agency and Homeland Security join me next. I'm Andrea Harrison. I'm your chair and your host for Telling Our Story in Prince George's County, and we'll be back in just a moment.
The 9/11 memorial is for my 343 brothers who didn't make it.
And for my brother.
This shows the world that we can rebuild.
And that we are strong.
It's for the heroes like my dad.
This year, the National September 11th Memorial opens in New York City. Join us to honor, remember, and reunite. To learn more or to reserve your visit, go to 911memorial.org.
Welcome to Telling Our Story in Prince George's County, a production of the Prince George's County Council. Our story is about caring people and vibrant communities, our children, youth, and families, our great opportunities for culture, and our rich history. A wonderful place to visit, featuring our past, present, and a future full of promise. This is Telling Our Story in Prince George's County. Insight, knowledge, and perspective on the things that matter to us all, with your host, Council Chair Andrea C. Harrison.
Hi, welcome to Telling Our Story in Prince George's County. This is a production of the Prince George's County Council, and I'm your host, Council Chair Andrea Harrison. Telling Our Story in Prince George's County offers a unique opportunity for us to come together and share some of the great stories taking place in our communities. I believe our success as a county depends in part on our ability to tell our own story, and that's why we're here today. I'm pleased to introduce my first guest, Michael Lyles. He's the Executive Director of the Prince George's County Human Relations Commission. That's the county's Civil Rights, Education, and Enforcement Agency. Thank you for joining us here on Telling Our Story in Prince George's County so we can learn more about your agency's important work and how the county is protecting our civil rights.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Andrew.
Good. Would you just let our viewers know what is the primary mission of the Prince George's County Human Relations Commission?
Well, the Human Relations Commission offers a cost-effective and efficient way to adjudicate civil rights complaints that people might bring, be they discriminated in the workplace, in housing, education, law enforcement, or public accommodations.
So you've been there since 2011. How are things going so far?
Well, because of the county council and the county executive, things are going great. Our operating budget was increased almost 200% over the previous year, and in that time we've been able to do a lot of great things by reforming the agency, addressing some of the management issues about how we process cases, as well as bringing on new commission members. All of that's led to a lot of improvements and advancements in the way we move cases through the process.
What have been some of the biggest challenges, and then what are some of your great successes?
Well, let's start with the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is most people don't know who we are. They get us confused with a lot of other agencies. They don't see the word civil rights in our name, so they're not quite clear on what we do. We've been trying to repair that through an aggressive advertising campaign. We've reformed the agency mission and vision. We've developed a new logo, new catchphrases, and in the last year, I visited every municipality to get the word out about what we do. That's the biggest challenge. One of our greatest successes is because of the increased funding and increased attention and light to our agency, we've been able to close a backlog of 132 cases in just 12 months. Those 132 cases were in the backlog, meaning that they were sitting around unresolved from, in some cases, almost 7 years or more.
Well, I would say that that's a great success, and I'm sure that those individuals are very happy about that. So one who believes they've been discriminated against in the areas of education or housing, employment, public accommodations, law enforcement, financial lending, real estate, what do they need to do to start a process to help them believe that they have been, their issue has been resolved?
Well, the first thing people need to do is figure out whether or not it's actually discrimination that's occurring. And the easiest thing to do is to go on our website, princegeorgescountymd.gov/civil rights. Read what's on our website about some of the ways people might be discriminated against and what you think might be going on. From there, you can email us, HRC staff at co.pg.md.us. We'll get an email to me and an intake investigator, or call our staff and actually set up an appointment to come in. That's the easiest thing to do. Come in and let us answer the questions that you might have, and if the facts support it, we'll issue a charge.
Is there a cost for a citizen to come and work with you?
Well, the great thing about our agency is because of the funding that we've received, it's free. You don't need a lawyer, and you can come and get an objective investigation of the situation. And if we find that discrimination did occur, I have the authority to bring a case before the commission, who will hear the case. We also have mediation services. So if the parties feel that there's some way short of a hearing that they can resolve the case, there's an opportunity to do that throughout the process. So it's free, you don't need a lawyer, and if you win your case, the commission can award damages over and above back pay up to $100,000, as well as the commission can also assess a fine against the violator up to $5,000. So if you've been discriminated against and you prove that you've had some pain, some suffering, humiliation, the commission can award you up to $100,000.
How long has the commission been around, and what's different today than in past years?
Well, the Commission's been around since the enacting legislation in 1974. From about 1976 to the year that I got here, the agency has gone from a staff of maybe 40 or 50 people down to a staff of about 10. So that's a big change. The other thing is, I think in the past, the Commission, because civil rights was such an important aspect of our daily lives in the 70s and the 80s, and now not so much so, especially as it regards race, that's a change. Most people in Prince George's County, if our population is mostly African American, look around and say, well, we don't have civil rights problems, but we do. Why? Because most of our civil rights cases, especially in the employment context, come from women who think they're discriminated against. So we still have a problem with gender-based discrimination. Additionally, we now have problems with national origin discrimination. People from Africa and from Latin America who feel that they've been discriminated in housing, on the workplace, in public accommodations, and also with respect to people with disabilities. These are our big problems today in Prince George's County.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you next, were you seeing any trends, the major issues, and I think you just kind of addressed those. And so at that point, then the individual would check to see, you know, if they believe based on your criteria, and then you can start a process from there with those individuals.
Yeah, basically what we ask people to do is, if you think you have a problem, come on in and see us, or even talk to an investigator over the phone. You could call an attorney to try to figure this out, but we offer the free alternative. You could come in and sit with us, and even if it doesn't result in a charge, you might have some information that could help you go forward. But we don't handle grievances between people that don't have a discriminatory basis. So someone has to be unlawfully discriminating you, treating you differently based on your race, color, gender, sexual orientation, familial status, etc.
So what if an employee feels that they've been discriminated against and they're a little hesitant to come forward, but they find enough courage to do that? What type of protections do you offer them?
Well, the commission is empowered to protect people from harassment. So if they have filed a complaint, it's illegal to retaliate against someone in the employment context. Additionally, all of the information in the cases, the information we take from an individual, are confidential. So we have the ability to keep everything secret and just to the persons that come in. If an employer, in the case of an employment discrimination case, is doing something against someone, the person can come right back in and we can issue another charge, or the commission can issue a cease and desist order to tell the employer or the individual who's offending the person to back off.
What about housing discrimination? Do you see many cases like that, and can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, with housing discrimination is a big issue in Prince George's County. We don't see enough cases. We know that there's more housing discrimination going on than people are complaining about. Why? Because we know that we have one of the highest foreclosure rates in Prince George's County. Based on our own analysis of impediment study, we have shown that the foreclosure rate is directly related to banks dumping subprime and exotic mortgages on Prince George's County, giving African Americans with great credit scores bad loans or bad terms. That's led to our crisis. We need to do a better job of trying to determine whether or not that discrimination is still going on, especially when it comes to areas of sale or rental. People from various countries are finding that they can't rent or buy a house because someone is discriminating against them based on their national origin, and in some cases their race or their language, or they have too many children and they're not married. That kind of stuff still goes on.
So how do you approach that?
Well, first of all, we are trying to get the word out by coming to shows like yours and let people know that we know the discrimination is going on. We need you to, if you think about it, come in and let us figure it out. The second way to do it is to do testing, which we're going to be partnering with large nonprofits from around the country who are eager to come into Prince George's County and help us train people to actually go and try to buy a house, try to get a mortgage, try to rent an apartment. And if we find that discrimination is occurring, we'll bring a charge, and we'll fine and penalize those people who are violating civil rights.
We've often heard the term protected classes. What does that mean? And talk about how the Human Relations Commission shields those individuals, those protected classes.
Well, basically, in order to bring a discrimination case, you have to fall into one of these quote-unquote protected classes. These are the identifiers that the county council, through its ordinance, has said we are going to offer you protection. Most people recognize that the basic protected classes: race, religion, sex, maybe even national origin. But Prince George's County goes further than a lot of different counties and states and jurisdictions in the country. We add occupation, so someone can't discriminate against you based on where you're employed. The ordinance also adds marital status, familial status. Someone can't discriminate against you based on your personal appearance or your political opinion. These are additions to what maybe the federal or the state would enforce. Additionally, sexual orientation is a big one, and the EEOC in employment context has issued guidance that also helps us prevent discrimination against people who are transgender or because of their gender identity.
We've heard often about individuals believe that they've been discriminated against by the police. What types of situations would you investigate that may involve police or law enforcement?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're eager to bring cases where people think that a police officer, a uniformed police officer, acting inside Prince George's County has treated them differently based on their race or their gender or their status as transgendered individual or sexual orientation. So when it comes to law enforcement, even though we don't bring the cases to the commission if it involves the Prince George's County Police, but there are a host of other police agencies that exist and operate inside Prince George's County, like the Office of Corrections, and 15 or 20 or so of the municipalities in Prince George's County have their own police departments. And so we will actually investigate and bring cases against those police departments, as well as the state police, any other police agency. The Prince George's County Police, however, cases against them are brought to the Citizens Oversight Panel. Mm-hmm. And I would argue that even if you brought a case to us and we couldn't fully deal with it if it was the Prince George's County Police, we'll still investigate it and turn it over to the Citizens Oversight Panel.
Let's end on a positive note.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the positive work performed by the Commission.
Well,
really quickly.
Yeah, the great thing about the Commission is that we can hear cases of discrimination, but the Commission can also do research, can come to communities and help communities with large overarching problems of discrimination and civil rights. Additionally, we've got a great staff. We're thankful to be in a county that actually cares about civil rights and is willing to help us do the enforcement. We're active, we're aggressive, we're going to take the case, we're going to penalize violators, and we're going to stop civil rights if we have to enforce it or if we have to educate people on how to protect themselves. We're going to do great things. We're the small agency with the big mission, and we're here to serve.
Well, great. Thank you so much. We now have to take a short break, but if you would, please stay with us, because up next, we'll talk about how the county keeps the home front safe and how you can play an important role in safe and secure communities in Prince George's County. Telling Our Story in Prince George's County returns in just a moment. Welcome back to Telling Our Story in Prince George's County, a production of the Prince George's County Council. I'm Council Chair Andrea Harrison, your host. When disaster strikes, who's there to help and what should you be doing? And how much do you really know about first responders? I'm excited to talk about this and more with my next guest. Calvin Hawkins is the Chief of Community Affairs and Education for the Prince George's County Office of Emergency Management and the Office of Homeland Security, and the recipient of the coveted President's Award to service for his extraordinary commitment to volunteer service. Kevin Woolbright has been a customer advocate for the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission for more than 30 years. He currently serves as chairman of the Prince George's County Citizens Corps Council, the community agency response team. Welcome to Telling Our Story in Prince George's County.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Calvin, we're going to start with you. You travel all around the county discussing emergency preparedness with groups and organizations, and this summer we've been tested a few times with some natural disasters. What are the top 3 things that you need to be ready for, or that we need to be ready for emergencies, and how do we as a county prepare? How do we fare in this?
From a county perspective, preparedness, training, and exercising with the various agencies in our private sector, nonprofit organizations are the key to our continued preparedness. From an individual standpoint, we need to continue to understand the importance of preparedness, prepare a family plan, as well as ensure that we have kits, because the more citizens prepare themselves, the better off they will be to deal with any situation that come their way. And as far as our county readiness compared to the region and the state, I would say we are far more prepared than we were. It's been a gradual progress, and as you well know from the many hours you spent out with the recent events, that we are doing an excellent job, not just preparing our citizens, but ensuring that our agencies are prepared to respond to what may come our way.
Kevin, you know, I would venture to say that many people have not heard of the Citizens Corps. Can you tell us what it is?
Absolutely. You are correct in your assessment that a lot of residents have no understanding or no idea who Citizens Corps Council is. Citizens Corps Council is a volunteer organization that's made up of, we have over 36 representatives from organizations such as faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, county government agencies, nonprofits as well, and they come together to do preparing residents, and there's a whole process we go through to prepare residents and being sure that they're prepared during emergency events. But you are correct, a lot of residents don't know we exist. So
then the mission is to begin to get residents to think about being prepared. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a key part of our mission, to get the word out that we do exist. And one important thing about the Citizens Corps Council is all our representatives that are on the Citizens Corps Council are strictly voluntary. Mm-hmm. So we have the representatives from all those agencies that I mentioned, they all are voluntary. None of the representatives get paid. Why do we do what we do? We do it because we have a passion to serve. We want to make sure that we want to protect residents in Prince George's County and provide training and education for them, and different mechanisms we have to do that.
And what's the benefit?
Benefit of having residents know that Citizens Corps Council exists and having them get in contact with us, because we provide training and education so that when an emergency occurs in Prince George's County and we first responders get there, residents understand what to do, not only when the event happens, but prior to an emergency. We want to make sure they understand different plans, like Calvin mentioned, different kind of get-ready kits they need to have for their families to be prepared, pet emergencies, things like that, so that when the emergency occurs, they have a better understanding what's going to take place, and not only for like fire events or things like that. You have hurricanes, tornadoes, you have various different kind of terrorism threats. So just having residents clearly understand what they need to do when those things happen and what they're responsible for when those events occur. That's key.
So when was the Citizens Corps established, and is it making a difference in the county?
Citizens Corps was established in 2005. Is it making a difference? Absolutely. One of the benefits that we have is being on a program such as today, because getting the word at the residents that we have free training. Give you an example of one of the trainings. We provide free CPR and first aid training for residents of Prince George's County. So in 2010, we've trained over 1,100 employees and volunteers. In 2011, we got that number up to 1,500. I'm proud to say now, as of August, we've gotten over 2,200 volunteers trained, understanding what to do if an emergency occurs. But that's just a starting point for us. Our goal is to make sure that every resident in Prince George's County understands who we are and some of the programs that we offer and the benefits that we can give them, which is completely free to residents in Prince George's County. Now, you mentioned that the Citizens Corps is made up of several different organizations. Who are some of those organizations? Some of the organizations are, and I want to, this is my opportunity to tout our great brochure that we have, and we do have a website now that we just created. And we have, some of the organizations are, just to run through quickly, Fire Corps, Medical Reserve Corps, we have Volunteers in Policing, Amateur Radio, Aries, Races, American Red Cross, we have Public Utilities, we have Prince George's County Municipal Center, and we have Individuals with Disabilities, and obviously American Legion are some of the represent organizations that we have. And each of these organizations that I mentioned has a representative that sits on the board of directors. And our goal and our mission is to provide training and education to residents in Prince George's County. And what's the website? Website is Citizens Corp at Prince George's County, citizenscorp.org. Okay. Calvin, you are very involved in something called the Community Emergency Response Team. What is it?
The Community Emergency Response Team, the acronym CERT, is a program that teaches citizens to prepare themselves so that in the time of an emergency or disaster, they could take care of their family, their community, or even their workplace until a first responder arrives, which in most cases may take a while. And that's what we do with CERT. Okay. How long has Prince George's County had a CERT program? And how many volunteers do we have that are involved? Madam Chair, I'm pleased to announce we started the CERT program in Prince George's County in 2005. We have over 4,320 CERT volunteers. We graduated 35 this past weekend after over 24 hours of training over a 6-week period. As you may recall, during some of the emergencies that happened in Bladensburg area, the microburst, CERT members, because they are trained and prepared, they were out assisting first responders, getting information out to the Spanish-speaking communities, helping in our Emergency Operations Center, helping the American Red Cross at the shelter. They are really engaged countywide in helping this county respond to emergencies and disasters. So we have individuals who are prepared all across the county, from Laurel to Accokeek and everywhere in between. We do. All because you've been out there knocking on doors and encouraging people. Yes, and with the kind of support we get from elected officials like you, because with all you have going on, every now and again you'll stop by one of the trainings, you encourage some of the CERT volunteers and Citizen Corps volunteers, and that really says a lot about your commitment to emergency response. What are some the training and responses and activities that CERT has been involved in besides, say, the microburst? Do you all go on, civil defense missions? Or do you do any of that? Believe it or not, the Prince George's County CERT program is the only program in the state of Maryland and really the actual United States, with the exception of California, that have certified search and rescue volunteers. We went through the National Association of Search and Rescue accreditation. And as a result, we can go anywhere. We're trying to work with the Prince George's County Police Department to let them know that we have this group. But certain members participate in drills. We try to drill every other month. We go as far as Linthicum. Anywhere in the National Capital Region in the state of Maryland, the CERT programs or the CERT coordinators know that if they invite Prince George's County CERT program or CERT volunteers to come, we will come. We have gone as far as Queen Anne, the Eastern Shore. We have gone all the way up to Cecil County. And the challenge with us, or the commitment, is to get our CERT members to engage as many CERT volunteers as possible, not just in the county, but throughout the National Capital Region in the state, so that if something happens, if they up at Deep Creek and they have their CERT training, and they may know someone where they can assist with whatever the response may require. So with being able to move around, it's almost like oftentimes we hear if something happens in another state, and you hear about the Fairfax
responders, search and rescue team that goes out. So our CERT team is certified to do something on a smaller scale, but the same idea, to be able to go out and assist other CERT communities if it's needed.
Exactly, and it's not just in the state of Maryland, it's anywhere, particularly in the National Capital Region. We do an excellent job working with our partners in the National Capital Region, Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., and other counties in the state, so yes.
So how does one sign up for CERT? How does one get involved in the Citizens Corps?
Citizens Corps, we have a website, which I just mentioned that, and you can go on that website, and all the information is there. And we look forward to having more residents in Prince George's County obviously understand who we are and know some of the benefits of the programs that we offer. Because I keep stating the same fact that the programs are completely free. And once they go on that website and they read it, they'll probably be amazed that they had no clue that these programs are there and available. So the website is the best way to get in contact with us.
And how does one sign up for CERT?
They can go on the Prince George's County Citizen Corps website, or they can call me directly at 301-780-8183, and we will respond accordingly.
Oh, wonderful. Just lastly, what are some of the goals of CERT?
Going into the remainder of this year and next year, we did a gap analysis, and we have trained CERT members, have been trained by the American Red Cross for shelter management and shelter operation to help the gap with social service and American Red Cross as far as having personnel work at the shelters. We have trained CERT volunteers to assist there, but more importantly, we are now focusing on training students, particularly young people, individuals with functional needs, as well as what Kevin mentioned earlier. We're focusing on preparing citizens to have PET plans, because a lot of citizens in Prince George's County have PETs, but they should be a part of their emergency plan. So those are basically the 4 areas that we're going to concentrate on.
Well, certainly we do appreciate your gift of service. We appreciate what you have done, undertaking this program, because basically both of you have been involved since the inception of these programs in 2005. And it's come a long way. You were out there this summer with a number of different events that we've had. We've had a couple just over the last few weeks and few days, as a matter of fact. So we thank you so much, and we thank all of our volunteers for being there for the residents of Prince George's County. I think this is a great story to tell, that we do have residents and people and our neighbors who care about one another, because ultimately we are our brother's keeper. Absolutely. So thank you so much.
And thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Well, that's it for this edition of Telling Our Story in Prince George's County. My thanks to our guests who are working so hard to keep us safe and secure in Prince George's County and keep us informed about how we can help. Thanks to our viewers for tuning in. Telling Our Story in Prince George's County is a production of the Prince George's County Council. I'm Council Chair Andrea Harrison and host, and I love telling our story in Prince George's County.